Had a lot of people tell me that I need to start reaching out to family members before I do these stories. Well, guess what? I tried to. There is a lot going on with this story. And I want to say thank you to my friends who actually sent me the story, including some people who personally know me. And just know there are certain details and things that I can't put out yet because it is not for the public to know as of yet. So we do have some people that are on the inside, but I can only tell you what I've been able to find on my own outside of some of my contacts, some of my friends. So shout out to them. Very important story that I want to give you guys some details on this little baby and the hell that she was put through and abandoned, misused and abused. And potentially, I think that it's possible that she might have been murdered and this could be a whole cover up, but we'll get there. So thank you to everybody who sent me this story. Let's get into the details. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. For everybody listening to the story, do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up so more people can see this and share this story. If you're listening, please hit that thumbs up. So I'm going to have two sources. One I'm going to be reading from Facebook. So I'm going to give them a shout out. I'm going to give them credit to Black Indie Live, which is where I'm going to read this from. And then I'm going to give you a document from fox59.com. Then we're going to get into the details. And then we're going to get into a very special conversation that I found online. Oh boy, get ready for this. An Indianapolis mother and boyfriend. Initially, it was just the mother, but now they're going to include the boyfriend. Of course, I told you guys, anybody who participates, knows about, sees something and doesn't say anything and causes the abuse or murder of a child, everybody needs to be held accountable. And I like this because in this case, they're going after the boyfriend too. I actually saw somebody who posted a video that said why they're going after the boyfriend. That's not right. And I actually think it is because I think that everybody who was attached to this are just disgusting people. An Indianapolis mother and boyfriend are charged in the murder of a 2-year-old toddler that was found dead in horrific conditions. And you guys can see some of the pictures, so brace yourselves. Fair warning. Where is my fair warning at? Right here. Following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences, so viewer discretion is advised, okay? The details of this case are deeply disturbing and graphic. Reader discretion is advised. The brutal reality of 2-year-old Skylar Gardner, who was the little girl's name. Let me see if I can get her face back up on the screen, get her mama's big, fat, nasty face off the screen for a second. Show you the little girl. This beautiful angel right here. 2-year-old Skylar, Skylar Gardner, spelled traditionally. Final days is almost too horrific to comprehend. Court documents reveal sickening conditions inside her home and shocking injuries on her tiny body. Injuries so severe that even rodents had begun to feed on her lifeless body. Rodents. Let me not even repeat that. That's pretty bad, but it's about to get worse. And just to let you guys know, when y'all see these pictures, not that particular picture, when y'all see these pictures, just know that I have inside information that said that the pictures of this apartment are worse than what you see on the screen. Do y'all hear me? Please hit that thumbs up if y'all hear me. I got very confident information that I was told that the apartment looks way worse, is in worse condition than the pictures that you guys see. Worse. Much worse. When police arrived, they found the apartment in complete disarray and filth. There was feces smeared on the walls, on a baby crib and mattress. Chicken bones, fast food bags, and rotting trash littered the floors. Furniture's knocked over, Room freezing cold, temperatures as low as 46 degrees. And there was Skylar's lifeless, cold body covered in horrifying injuries. Autopsy reveals unspeakable abuse. So check this out. This is what this angel went through. Bruises were all over her body, including her vaginal area and right eye. What does that signify? It could signify sexual trauma, sexual abuse. We don't know that yet, but there is still much, much more to come out about this story, okay? So just brace yourself. I want y'all to remember this is difficult to hear, but nothing you hear is worse than what this baby went through. I think we can get some tough skin and just listen, right? Don't we owe that to these people who suffered? I think we do. There were bite marks on her back and under her arm, a puncture wound in her neck from a rodent, suspected post-mortem rodent activity, frostbite on her hands and feet, internal injuries, swollen genitals, and untreated infections. It's one of the worst we've ever heard. That's a stupid ass mama, neglectful ass mama, trifling ass mama. And I'm going to show y'all how trifling she actually is. And I'm going to show y'all while this apartment was looking like this, while her daughter was dead, what she was out actually doing. It was two things that she was actually doing and focusing on. Do y'all want to guess what that is? Gardner admitted to police that she abandoned Skylar and her 4-year-old brother for days at a time while she stayed at her boyfriend's house. Good Lord, look at that mattress. Jesus freaking Christ. I can't even barely do this damn story. She admitted, so it is no longer alleged, she admitted that she abandoned her kids for days at a time while spending time with her thug boyfriend. She would check on them once a day, bringing them food and water, but leaving them in this filth. Her excuse for the burning rash and swelling in Skylar's private area, she blamed it on diapers. I think that's possible, but how do we really know? It's possible. Her 4-year-old son was forced to fend for himself, climbing counters for water and stepping through waste. The coroner believes that Skylar froze to death in an unheated apartment, alone, starving, and suffering. Where was the boyfriend? So let's talk about the boyfriend, Brian Anthony Thomas. We were able to find one picture of him, so I'm thankful that we were able to get that. If y'all want to see what he looks like, the guy that we're looking for is this guy. Dun, dun, dun. Brian Thomas, Gardner's boyfriend, is now wanted by police for assisting a criminal. He initially lied to cover for his girlfriend, for this heifer, later admitting that he knew she was leaving the children alone. He knew it and didn't say nothing. I think he needs just as much time in prison. Friends of Gardner said that they would have helped if they knew what was happening. And I'm going to just tell y'all, unless you were in this apartment, unless you were really close to her, with her just constantly just being locked in this apartment, you wouldn't have any idea unless the overwhelming smell, like you just smelled it and then reported it, which I think, like, it just makes me wonder if people are so used to funky, stinking apartments that they don't think to call and do a wellness check. Maybe they didn't hear the kids yelling, screaming, crying, something. I don't know. I just find it hard to believe that nobody else suspected nothing. The children's father, believe it or not, these kids actually have a biological father, which is not the boyfriend. The children's father, who lives in Ohio, said he tried to stay in contact but was repeatedly ignored. Let me say that again. The biological father said he was repeatedly ignored. here is the thing that you have to ask, and I think people know what is my favorite hashtag. Like, I see that Reeves posted a hashtag of Tommy. Shout out to Tommy. But y'all know I have a hashtag over here that specifically calls this out. And what is that? Do y'all remember what it is? Why is it that this woman will go out of her way to keep custody of these kids, knowing that the biological father will probably be interested in taking custody of kids that she clearly did not give a fuck about? Why would she go out of her way to abandon these kids and leave them to die instead of giving them over to the biological father? Hashtag babies for benefits. These whores, these bitches, these sluts, these alleged mothers, these queens, these freaking pregnant bags, these women who don't deserve ovaries, hashtag TTO, they do not deserve reproductive organs. If you're going to let you, she says she'd rather let her kids die, starve to death, and just be mistreating in the worst way possible, rather than give up the custody of those kids. Probably because the only reason she had that place was because of the kids. The only reason she probably had Section 8 food stamps, I'm just assuming, it's probably because of those kids. The only reason she was probably getting child support was probably because of those kids. And guess what she was doing and spending her money with? I'm going to show y'all what she spent her money on. Matter of fact, I'm going to just tell you. And y'all tell me if y'all want to see it. This woman used her money, her source of funding, whatever that was, to pay for music videos that she was rapping and performing in. I swear to God, you can't be this fucking dumb. These people go above and beyond stupid. This is above and beyond cruel. This is hateful. Check out this post that you guys see on my screen. I'm going to back it up so you guys get a chance to see it. On January 22nd, she said, I want to collaborate with a female singer. I got a classic in the making. Who should I put on here? Talking about making music. If y'all want to see the music video, I'll let you see it. But I'm going to probably have to take it down because it's copyrighted. She stole the track. Of course. You think this fat bitch was going to pay money for royalty free, like for her to have proper copyrights to music? I just don't think that's what, people who aren't lazy do. Or people who are lazy. Whatever. Anyway. She also said, I'm about to put Steph Curry on my parlay for touchdowns. Y'all think it's going to hit. She was also doing fantasy basketball or whatever the hell that is as well. She posted that on her Facebook. Her Facebook is actually still up if y'all want to check that out. So here's the thing. She allowed her children to pretty much die rather than just give up custody. And you could have went on with your happy life without the kids and went on with your boyfriend. But here's the irony of this whole thing. You can see she's trying to go on tour and all type of stupid shit, man. It just blows my mind. This is beyond trifling. Y'all see her tour schedule? Y'all see this, right? Blows my mind. The irony of this whole situation is that she didn't want her kids. She wanted the benefits off of those kids. But guess what she's going to get if she continues to deal with her boyfriend? It's going to produce what? More unwanted kids that she's going to try to claim benefits off of. More unprotected sex, more kids. Y'all see how stupid this is? Gardner is set to face trial for murder and neglect on April the 8th. A warrant is out for Brian Thomas's arrest. That's the boyfriend. Here's a small update. Brian Thomas, who is currently on the run, if y'all see his face, tell on him. I guarantee you he's probably hiding out nearby some food, probably a McDonald's or a Church's Chicken or something like that. Let me see if I get his face back up here so y'all can see who we're looking for, which is, where is he at? This fat bastard right here. That's Brian Thomas. He's currently on the run, has allegedly released recorded jail calls with Chantel where she speaks about her mental state, the condition of her apartment, and the moment she found her baby Skylar unresponsive. Thomas claims these recordings will clear his name, but he has yet to turn himself in. So much for love, huh? He was trying to get her told on and recorded the calls. But here's the thing. On Fox59.com, on their website, an Indianapolis mother is now charged with murder and child neglect following the death of a 2-year-old who was found living in horrific conditions. Prosecutors claim that the girl and her 3-year-old brother were left alone for days inside a cold apartment. Police claim the entire apartment where the little girl and her young sibling lived was littered with feces, urine, garbage, and rotting food. Preliminary doctors believe Skylar Gardner died from hypothermia. She froze. But her body was also covered in bruises and bite marks, with a puncture wound on her neck and frostbite on her feet and hands. Doctors believe the puncture wound occurred after she was dead post-mortem, likely from a rodent. It's sad on so many levels, said attorney John Tompkins. The victim's mother, Chantel Gardner, admitted she knew she was neglecting her young kids by letting them live alone in the filth for days and nights on end, but she insisted she didn't physically harm her kids on purpose. Can y'all believe that? Over the weekend, IMPD officers found the little girl dead. She and her brother had been living in the filth at the apartment on 6300 block of Newberry Road. Officers initially arrested Gardner on a neglect charge. Now, Tompkins isn't connected to the case, but said the victim's mother was charged with murder and neglect, not because she intended to hurt the child, but because prosecutors believe she knowingly placed her daughter in a deadly situation. A murder charge would get you intent. Intent could get you life in prison, maybe even the death penalty, and I think that she kind of deserves that. Let me see here. We already know that she left the children home alone while she stayed at her boyfriend's house. We already know that. Her boyfriend is 39 years of age, Brian Thomas, and he's been charged with 2 counts of assisting a criminal. Thomas is accused of also lying to investigators. Gardner called 911 after finding Skylar unresponsive under a dresser on January 25th. Upon arrival, police found the home unsuitable for living. Feces were smeared on the walls and furniture, trash was scattered around the residence, and food was rotting. Items were soaked in urine. The conditions were so awful that detectives considered the apartment a biohazard. As conditions inside the apartment got worse, Gardner stopped taking the children to the doctor or even out in public for fear that the neglect would be discovered, which also would prove intent. Because you knew something was wrong and you don't want anybody to find out that something was wrong. Although her furnace did not work properly, Gardner didn't report it to maintenance due to the cleanliness of the residence and because they would have known the children were alone and unattended. Yet again, another instance that they would have found out. The affidavit claims Gardner says she tried cleaning the walls and maintaining things, but it became too overwhelming. She eventually strayed away from the home altogether due to the smell inside the house. But you left your kids there? It was overwhelming, but you weren't overwhelmed enough to fix it, but you was overwhelmed enough to go live with your boyfriend and go get you some overwhelming dick that was going to provide you with yet another overwhelming baby that your overwhelming big ass wasn't going to overwhelmingly protect or provide for. I'm going to skip a lot of this extra stuff. A nurse practitioner told investigators some of the bruises found on Skylar were suspicious for non-accidental trauma consistent with inflicted trauma seen in child abuse, according to court documents. So they're saying that they believe she was abused, and I believe it. Skylar's 3-year-old brother suffered from severe constipation, and his medical condition was non-life-threatening, according to court documents. A medical evaluation found he showed signs of food deprivation and has emotional and cognitive issues. He is described as weak and very twitchy and shaky. He's territorial about his food tray and will have a complete meltdown when anyone tries to take his food away. Pray for this baby, man. In addition, he tends to eat his food in huge clumps, and someone has to intervene to get him to slow down, according to court documents. The nurse practitioner told investigators it's likely that Skylar's brother's condition would have been life-threatening if his sister hadn't been found dead, leading to a response from law enforcement that made them aware of the conditions inside the home. A later search of the residence found temperatures as low as 46 degrees Fahrenheit, and the highest was 51 degrees. And at that point, temperatures outside were 31 degrees, meaning the home would have been even colder during the recent cold snap. Gardner denied physically or sexually harming either of the children. Now, according to court documents, she acknowledged she neglected them by leaving them alone for long periods of time, including at night when she stayed at her boyfriend's house. Detectives noticed Gardner's story and timeline changed multiple times because she lied. A friend and the biological father of the children told police that they were unaware of the conditions in which the children were living. So consider the fact that she probably could have changed her phone number, blocked them on social media, just simply wasn't returning his calls. How would he have known? Outside of going there and kicking the door down, which is illegal to do, but I would understand if a parent and a father was led to do that, and maybe it could have saved these kids. I'm not saying you should break the law, but I'm just saying I would have understood if he would have chose to go that route. Now, during a subsequent interview, Gardner said things became too overwhelming with the children, and she said she would leave them unattended, with YouTube acting as the babysitter. Jesus Christ. She specifically told investigators her children watched popular YouTuber Miss Rachel. So that's supposed to be the responsible babysitter is a YouTube program. That's interesting. So y'all see why I'm reading from this other article, because there's more information that it gave that the first one did not, just by default. She would go out with Thomas, her boyfriend, and leave the children behind because taking 2 children who weren't always the most behaved could be challenging. She eventually avoided spending much time at the apartment because the smell of the apartment was so bad. She told police she stopped showering at home because the smell before showering would cling to her immediately after showering. The odor embarrassed her, especially around her boyfriend. So she began staying the night with him, leaving Skylar and her brother by themselves. She said she left them at home at most for 2 days. And we know it's probably longer than that. Y'all do me a favor, if you can hear the sound of my voice, y'all please hit that thumbs up, please, to share this video, please. Thank you. I appreciate that. At times, when she knew relatives were going to call, she was intentional about being with the kids because she knew family members were only calling to speak to the children. Again, that's showing intention. You say you're furious, I understand. How many of the rest of you guys are furious and pissed off from hearing this? How many of y'all think that she's evil? And again, y'all know I've talked about this also. I'll get back to this here in a minute. Babies for benefits. She wanted to look like a good mother, so she'd take good, high-quality pictures. But think about the condition she left these kids in. Look at that picture and then think about what she left these kids in. Left them in this. You left them in that, but then you want to take pictures like this so people can praise you and you can be perceived as a great parent, because the great parent threshold is so freaking low. It's lower than a bow-legged caterpillar could do the freaking limbo underneath the goddamn thing. That's how low the bar is. So she even deceived her parents, who might have found out that something was wrong. But shout out to my parents, because my mom might call, my dad might call, but guess what they did? They would just pop up. They would just show up at my apartment when my daughter was really, really young, when she was a newborn. Even as she got older, there were days they wouldn't call me. They would just pop up and see how my baby was doing. But luckily, I'm a good dad. Not a great dad, but a pretty damn good dad. Shout out to my daughter, because she'll be grown this year. That is so crazy saying that. My daughter will be legally grown this year. Just, this baby deserved every opportunity to grow up and eventually become legally grown. And she was failed. Absolutely failed. I always say that the failure starts with the biological mother and biological father. There's a little bit more. Eventually, she believed her children saw her absence as normal because Skylar's brother stopped crying when his mama left. She left the children alone for a day or two and returned with food for them, which typically consisted, consisted of cheeseburgers and chicken nuggets. Sometimes she brought them chips or chicken wings along with sports drinks like Gatorade or Powerade to try to cover it up and mask it and fill their bodies up real quick and act like ain't none of this actually going on. The smell at the home became so intolerable that she stopped taking the kids out in public altogether. She also stopped taking them to the doctor due to their hygiene and smell. Gardner told investigators she understood the consequences of leaving two young children alone and what improper care could do to them. Gardner's initial hearing was scheduled for Thursday. A jury trial is tentatively scheduled for April, and I think it's around April the 8th. We got a lot of video to get into, but before we get into the details, let me give you a disclaimer. The other baby is okay. If y'all didn't catch that, he's going to survive, but I actually told a big portion of the story. You might have to hit the rewind button on that, but we told a whole large story about the little boy, but just know he's going to be okay. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If y'all would do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up to share this video. I guarantee you, if we had one thumb up for everybody that sees this, it would make this video go viral. It's something free and it's something simple we all can do. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, please hit that thumbs up. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you a couple of news videos, and then I'm going to let you hear the jail call when the boyfriend called and spoke to her in jail. We got that recording. And then we're going to show you the music video if y'all want to see it. Y'all got to let me know if you want to see the music video too. So I want y'all to see what she invested her money and time in. This is going to take a little while. Let's get through it. News videos first.
Just hours ago, we learned that an Indianapolis mother has been charged in the death of a 2-year-old girl, and her alleged boyfriend has a warrant out for his arrest. You may remember this story. Last Saturday, Metro Police responded to an apartment complex on the city's northeast side near Shadeland Avenue. 33-year-old Chantel Gardner called 911 saying she found 2-year-old Skylar unresponsive and not breathing. Officers found the home in disarray with trash on the floor alongside steak knives. Officers say Skylar was cold to the touch when they found her. They say she was covered in bruises and injuries. Now, Chantel faces murder and neglect charges. The boyfriend, Brian Thomas, faces a charge of assisting a criminal.
News now at 5. An Indianapolis mother charged with murder and neglect. It comes after the death of her 2-year-old daughter.
CBS 4's Jesse Wells has reaction to these charges. We want to warn you, you may find the photos and details in this story disturbing.
According to court records, the victim's mother admitted she knew she was neglecting her young kids by letting them live alone and in filth for days on end inside this apartment building behind me. While the suspect did her best to hide that neglect, she insisted she did not physically harm her kids on purpose. This disgusting bedroom with a feces-covered crib and mattress is where a 2-year-old girl died over the weekend. Police claim the entire apartment where the little girl and her young sibling lived was littered in feces, urine, garbage, and rotten food. Preliminarily, doctors believe Skylar Gardner died from hypothermia, but her body was also covered in bruises and bite marks with a puncture wound on her neck and frostbite on her feet and hands.
It's so sad on so many levels.
Attorney John Tompkins isn't connected to the case, but says the victim's mother, Chantel Gardner, was charged with murder and neglect, not because she intended to hurt her child, but because prosecutors believe she knowingly placed her daughter in a deadly situation, leaving one question for a jury.
She knew it was bad. Did she know that someone would die?
According to this affidavit, Gardner told police she left her young children home alone for several hours every day and night while she stayed at her boyfriend's house. That boyfriend, Brian Thomas, is also charged with 2 counts of assisting a criminal. Over time, conditions inside the apartment got worse, and Gardner feared the neglect would be discovered. The affidavit claims Gardner said she tried cleaning the walls and maintaining things, but it became too overwhelming, and she eventually strayed away from the home altogether due to the smell inside the house.
None of that's a defense, but it's certainly worth noting that the systems that are in place to prevent this on a humanitarian level in our city failed.
Handling things on your own when they get to be out of control and unsafe is not the best idea. So we want to normalize this idea that asking for support is a responsible and good thing to do.
For their part, child neglect awareness advocates urge all parents to call the state's hotline and ask for help.
It's not about tearing families apart. It's about getting them the help and support they need before the really horrible outcomes happen.
Finally, the suspect made her initial court hearing today. In the meantime, she is being held without bond pending trial. Jesse Wells, CBS 4 News.
She just put them in a situation that it risked their lives.
A mother is now facing charges over the death of her child. We'll break down this case coming up right here on your News at 5. We start first this afternoon with this 2-year-old daughter found dead over the weekend. And that begins our newscast here at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Birshel Edman.
And I'm Dan Spieler. Fox 59's Jesse Wells got a hold of court records today that detail just how this case came to light.
Police were first called to this apartment building behind me by the victim's mother, who reported finding her daughter unresponsive under a dresser. Court records claim that mother admitted to neglecting her kids, who were living in filth. Here on the ground floor of this apartment building near Shadeland and Fall Creek, 2-year-old Skylar Gardner died Saturday night. Police claim the little girl and her young sibling were living in horrific conditions, with the apartment floor and walls covered in feces amidst a stench of rotting food. According to this affidavit, the girl's mother, Chantel Gardner, told police she left her young children home alone for several hours every day and night while she spent time at her boyfriend's house.
Clearly, the state has a good case to show that she was neglect of a dependent.
Attorney Mario Masalamani isn't connected to the case, but says while Indiana law doesn't specify an exact age at which a child can be left home alone, parents can be charged with neglect if they abandon their children, deprive them of necessary support, or leave them in a situation that endangers their life.
The law doesn't specify a specific age because the law doesn't want to specify an age. In this situation, you have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. Clearly, they're not able to stay by themselves.
Police say Gardner confessed she came back to the apartment once a day to feed her 2 kids and often found them covered in feces. Gardner admitted she knew she was neglecting her kids, but insisted she never physically.
Somebody in the chat asked, how did the neighbors not notice the smell? I have no idea. But y'all also got to remember, I know this is going to sound bad, but I'm going to just say this out of disrespect for the neighbors, because I just don't believe that you didn't know. These type of people act like y'all got to remember, there've been dead bodies, let alone stinky, dusty, filthy, nasty apartments, and they act like they don't smell nothing. But when you walk up to the door, it's just overwhelming. Even if you walk down the hall, you would smell that. Let me say thank you real quick, Maria, channel member. Much love. Thank you, Maria. Shout out to Maria. She gifted 5 channel memberships. Guys, listen up for your name if you got a free channel membership. Georgia Girl, Christina Capon, Bleachhead Betty, that's the name in the chat. I didn't make that up. Divested Aloha Life, and Sin City from NOLA. Hey, what's happening? Thank you, Maria. Shout out to y'all. And if y'all would, do me a favor, and all you got to do is just thank the person who gifted you a channel membership for the next 30 days. All we ask is that you keep your channel membership and renew it when it comes due in 30 days. Just renew it at least one time. And thank you to Tiffany Copeland joining us or rejoining us over there on level 2. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, thank you, and shout out to Tiffany. And anybody else, if I missed you, I will shout you out here in just a second. Hold on. Jimmy D, if you're listening, thank you for taking on the $1 challenge. Teresa, Monday, my first donation. Thank you. I got it. I'm sorry. I'll keep that part private. My bad. I got you. I should have read first. My bad. I got you. Natasha was showing some love. Natasha Y said, thank you so much for caring about the babies. If you're listening, thank you very much. And I think Joanne, thank you, Joanne. And also thank you to Reese as well. I got you guys. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. Let's keep going. Hit that thumbs up if y'all listening. Here we go. Let's keep going.
Harm the children herself.
So in neglect of a dependent, you don't have to show that she intentionally tried to harm them. She just put them in a situation that it risked their lives.
While it's not clear exactly how the 2-year-old girl died, doctors at Riley Hospital say they found a large puncture wound to her neck and her whole body was covered in bruises. Finally, the suspect is being held on a $100,000 bond. She's due in court for an initial hearing later this week. Jesse Wells, Fox 59 News.
Jesse, thank you. Neglect of a dependent resulting in death is a level 1 felony carrying a maximum sentence of 40 years in prison.
New at 5.
Those new court documents say 2-year-old Skylar Gardner may have been dead for several hours before she was found, and her body was full of bruises and injuries.
Tragic to think about the victim here.
A young victim who family says has such a bright smile and personality.
And unfortunately, that flame was put out too soon.
Saturday night, police say Skylar's mother called them after she found Skylar unresponsive under a dresser. Court documents say once officers got inside the apartment, they found trash, human feces, steak knives, and soiled items scattered around. When Skylar was taken to the hospital, doctors found a large puncture wound to her neck.
This life deserved to have fulfilled who knows how old, and lived a wonderful life, brought brightness into everyone's lives.
Documents reveal when Skylar's mother and her boyfriend talked with police, they both said she would spend the night at her place every night, leaving Skylar and her older brother alone in the apartment. The mother also said she would only check on the two once a day, only to bring them food and a drink, and they would be dirty. The mother denied abusing the children, but said she knew she was neglecting them.
We're the only ones in this society, adults, that can be the advocate for these children, that have a voice.
IMPD says in cases like this, it's important for other family members to be aware of any abuse or neglect and report it immediately.
Please reach out to 911, contact the police. We will get you resources. It's not criminal to ask for help, and we want you to do so.
So another child doesn't lose their life to neglect. In Indianapolis, Anna Chalker, 13 News.
Thanks for inviting us in at 6 o'clock, and we begin tonight with murder charges filed in the death of that 2-year-old girl who was found dead last weekend.
Police now tell 13 News that the mother is responsible. We want to warn you some of the details and the photos in this story could be disturbing to some.
Our Marina Silva has been following this story for us, and she joins us live in studio. She's got the latest on what happened to Skylar Gardner.
Well, Scott and Anne Marie, these are 21 pages of court documents detailing what allegedly happened to Skylar Gardner. Everything from how dirty the apartment was to how often they were given food to all the injuries both Skylar and her 3-year-old brother have. It's all listed right here. Their mom, Chantel Gardner, has been in the Marion County Jail. Her boyfriend, Brian Thomas, also has a warrant out for his arrest.
It's been almost a week since 2-year-old Skylar Gardner died. This was the scene that night on Newberry Road. Chantel Gardner, the girl's mom, told police she would sometimes leave her 2- and 3-year-old children home alone for days at a time. According to court documents, Gardner told police she returned to the apartment Saturday around 6 p.m. after being gone since Friday at 4 when she brought the kids food. Gardner says she found Skylar underneath a dresser and cold to the touch. According to the autopsy for Skylar, she had multiple injuries contributing to her death. Multiple patterned bruising across her body, bite marks on her back, a puncture wound on her neck, and unknown injuries to her feet. Gardner also has a 3-year-old son. Court documents say he was also left alone in the apartment. He was taken to Riley Hospital. A nurse who examined the boy told police he had a distended stomach, had signs of food deprivation, swollen feet, and was weak and twitchy.
So you guys can hear that right there. The boy survived, but that was what he was suffering from. Now, Christina said in the chat, said if maintenance doesn't have a call, they're not going. If she is paying rent, nobody is putting a notice on the door. So, and I agree with you, which is why they wouldn't have entered the apartment. But good Lord, maybe they need to start making it mandatory to at least crack them doors once a month. Stick their head in there like, hey, everybody good? That should be like a mandatory thing. They should schedule a date or something. Like I know some people do like pest control maintenance and stuff like that they let you know about like a month in advance. Something. But just flat out that you don't never check none of the apartments. I find that just to be a very odd thing. But a couple more news videos and then we're going to get right into the jail call. Do y'all want to hear that? Let me say thank you, Deborah Dorr. Deborah Dorr actually gave us a second donation that I'm just now seeing. So Deborah Dorr, if you're listening, thank you very much. And Ingrid Candy, if you're listening, welcome back to channel membership. It's always an honor to have you back in the building as a channel member supporting. Thank you, Gypsy Oz, for the $2 super chat showing some love. And the last person that came in was Tiffany Copeland. So if you're listening, thank you very much. If anybody else donates, I will make sure to shout you out. So thank you, Reese. Thank you, Jimmy D. And thank you to Natasha. Those were the last ones that came in. Link is at the top of the description box in the chat. All right, here we go.
When detectives went to the apartment, court documents say they were overwhelmed by the smell. These are photos investigators took. You can see what looks to be feces, food, trash, and clothing all over the floor. Gardner told police she would leave the kids alone when she often stayed overnight at her boyfriend's house. Her boyfriend, Brian Thomas, is now charged. He faces 2 counts of assisting a criminal. Thomas told police he had not seen the kids since the end of December, and Gardner told him family was watching them at night. Court documents say Skylar also had hypothermia, and when investigators took the temperature inside the apartment, the highest temperature they found was 51 degrees. Gardner told police she stopped taking the kids in public due to their smell. Documents say she told police it had been more than a week since she bathed them.
Gardner told police she even stopped bathing herself at the apartment because of the smell. Instead, she was going over to her boyfriend's house. The kid's father is from Ohio. He told police he had given full custody to Chantel. He said,
why? He gave her full custody for what? Oh, I hope y'all heard that. Said the father gave her full custody. Let me let y'all hear that part again.
Boyfriend's house. The kid's father is from Ohio. He told police he had given full custody to Chantel. He said he did not know how bad things had gotten.
Gave her full custody for what? Okay, here we go. let's just move past that. We're not going to be able to rationalize that. If the biological father sees this video, email me, the afcmatters@gmail.com. If you catch us live, then we can talk about it. You can call in. If any family members are in the chat right now, I will let you call in and tell me what the deal is. Outside of that, I want y'all to hear this video. This is her boyfriend talking to her while I think she is detained. There's a jail call. Listen at this. These are in 3 video segments. Y'all ready? Then we'll show her stupid ass music video. Here we go.
When I talk to the detectives, I'm like, I don't know why they keep including you. When I told TT, I told him, I said, I don't know why they keep including him. I said, had I not, called him to come get seen, like he wouldn't even be a part of this shit.
I mean, I get that. You feel me? Like somebody need to be there for Saint, but they, it's these motherfuckers on social media, and it's this motherfucker sending me shit like, this nigga knew. How could this nigga just clearly let her lay up over there knowing that the kid is over there? I'm like, nigga, she know for a fact I would have got on her motherfucking ass if, nigga, that was the motherfucking case. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm mad at you, because you know you could have fucking told me this shit. You know you could have told me this shit.
I was embarrassed. Like, I was trying to make it like I had shit together. Like, I thought I had shit together. I really thought I had shit together. Like, I was trying to get shit together. Like, there wasn't a point in time. Like, I know there would be times where you would ask and you'd be like, you okay?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you recall, like, but like that alone now, you was like, you okay? You know, that's the shit that was on my mental when you was asking.
When I was asking, was you okay?
Yeah. I'd be like, I'm alright, I'm cool. Or like the day when you had ordered the food, and I was like, fuck, the friend just texted me about the Pampers.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, I had a moment right there. I was like, fuck, I need to go check on them like that. And that was just me going to go check on them. Type shit, you feel me? Like, because I knew, like, it was just, like, spurts or it'd be times where I just felt like I needed to.
Hold on, guys. I'm not trying to stop the recording. We only got 200 thumbs up. Can y'all please hit that thumbs up? We want to try to get at least 300 to 400 people here, but we need more people to hit that thumbs up. We got almost 300 people here. I'm going to let it play. I'm going to back it up a little bit because I know we missed some of this because I paused it. There's 2 more parts. If y'all are listening, please hit that thumbs up. We only have exactly 200 thumbs up. All right, here we go. Let's keep playing. Here we go.
Check on them. Type shit, you feel me? Like, because I knew, like, it was just, like, spurts or it'd be times where I just felt like I needed to get back to, you feel me? Like, but my goal was to get shit together. Like, I told them, like, she said she seen the cleaning supplies, but, like, I told her, like, that Thursday, but she was trying to be an asshole, but she was like, well, how do I know those weren't for Brian's house? Because I'm like, Brian and his brother cleaned their own house. You feel me? Like, wow. And if it was for Brian, why wouldn't I just take it to his house?
Exactly.
Like that shit. Like, I was trying to get that shit together. I told her to look through my text messages where me and best friend was texting, and I asked for the pediatrician phone number. Look through my call records where I was calling Dr. Fisher to make appointments with Skylar and not shit together. Or I didn't want you to feel like I was rushing shit, but in a way I was like rushing shit, you feel me, so I could get them in a better environment, because I knew that environment wasn't safe or clean for them. Like,
but you know, anyway, even
she said she knew the environment was not safe and clean. That is an admission of guilt right there.
Anyway, even when I did see the babies, like, you know for a fact, like, even if that was the case, when you was spending the night over here, like, you could have brought them. You could have brought them, nigga. If anything, you know, if push came to shove, I would have paid for daycare.
You already had a lot on your plate.
It don't matter though. Them babies come before the bullshit I got going on. I would rather have paid to put them in daycare than figure it out like this.
I just refuse to believe that he didn't know. Maybe he didn't know, but this is CYA. He's trying to cover his own ass. He's trying to cover himself. That's why he recorded this. Honestly, I guess I don't blame him for trying to protect himself. But again, I just find it hard to believe that he didn't know. She's going days and days and days at his house and ain't seeing the kids. Ain't like just that's impossible not to realize that something's wrong.
You said what?
I said I didn't want to be a burden.
But still, though, sweetheart, you gotta, you had to move a little bit different, like.
I know.
Huh? Yeah.
Get shit together. And then that's when I went in the room and I seen her. And I picked her up and I took her. I had to give off some Gatorade. I was trying to get her to get ready because like her eyes was like they was like still rolling. So I'm like, maybe she's still, you feel me?
Yeah.
And after I had called you to tell you to come get things, so I brought her to the hospital. I called 911 and they told me to get her CPR. But I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah.
When I hurt her. Yeah. I just felt like my best bet was getting her to the hospital, but as you saw when I took her outside, because I said it was too late. But I was definitely trying to get shit together for my babies. I didn't want to be a burden on nobody. I didn't know how to ask for help.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Nah, I'm already knowing.
Alrighty, how do you guys feel about that? How do y'all feel about that? I think that's very telling. I definitely believe that he's trying to cover himself. Now, granted, because this could ruin his life and cause him to be in prison a whole lot of years, I guess I don't blame him for taking the route of basically trying to make it seem like he had no idea at all. But we'll see how that plays out on his end. I think that they both should be held accountable, but she definitely should be. I don't even know if you even had a willing biological father, considering the fact that now we know that he gave up custody. Now, can we say that he was a willing biological father? It's hard to say that. So did he sign over his rights? Why did he give up custody? And if he would have asked, because he made it seem like he was trying to check on the kids and she was preventing him access. But if you gave up custody, that means you literally quit your access. That makes no sense. That's why the story is just horrifying in every possible way that you could think of. And then on top of that, to add the proverbial slap to a big ass hole in your face, then you have this broad used her finances, and I want y'all to think about this, while her kids were starving and stinking and dying, and the little girl died, they found her underneath the bottom of a Chester drawer. A cabinet or whatever that fell on top of her. Was he trying to avoid paying child support to biological father? Probably. But now it makes me wonder if he was even willing to try to be a parent at all. And then you have two kids. I don't get how you have, let alone one kid, but two by a man who don't want to be a father. What? There's no way. You offer me my kids, I'm taking my kids into custody. Come on in, move in, we doing this together. It's just that simple. That's the only right parental thing to do. But outside of that, then to add insult to injury, I'm going to have to take this portion and cut it out. We're going to cut it right here. But I'm going to show y'all this while we're live because I know that this beat is copywritten and I don't want to lose all my copyright to my video, to my commentary. Listen at this. This is the music video that she made. Apparently she's a rapper and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. Hit the thumbs up. We only got a few people here that just added to the thumbs up, but please hit that thumbs up. Listen at this. I'm going to let it play. Here we go.
This big shanty and them hoes do not like that. They think I'm Joy Mother, how I'm coming on that my check. Don't check for me if ain't no take for me and I know not check. Fuck this neck cause I'm the recipe, I'm really like that. I be Addy in my Addy while you out here catching bodies. Bitches bank accounts on E, I be like, whoa, keep it savvy. These hoes couldn't stop me even on my worst day. I keep that cake up in my pockets every day, my birthday. I put my neck on chill, put my wrist on freeze, put the deuces on the whip, and you know I keep them clean. I just came back on the scene like I never took a break. Bitches think I'm selling pussy, niggas think I'm pushing weight. Let a nigga take my faith, that ain't in my DNA. Half you bitches is some scrubs and I ain't talking CNA. I just made another dub, then they do a G a day. Half you bitches need a hug, but that's a whole nother eight. When you pay me for a feature, wanna do the video, I hate to let you niggas know that that's a whole nother pay. They tried to count me out, evidently couldn't count, cause I emerged from the drought and made a whole nother way. Yeah.
She says she's really like that. Here's the thing. Would y'all want to book her or would y'all want to throw the book at her? Like, I think she needs a life prison sentence. Would you like to book her or throw the book at her? I think the judge, the jury, God, and everybody else needs to throw the book at her, and she needs to spend the rest of her fat ass life in prison. Trifling as ever. You can't fix this level of stupidity. As far as the boyfriend, I just refuse to believe that he didn't know. Now, granted, if he wants to call in and profess his innocence before he gets arrested, you can call into my show. You better email me quick because the police are looking after you, sir. So email me at theafcmatters@gmail.com. Reach out to me. I will respond because I know that you're on a limited time frame. So as soon as you hit me up, we'll chop it up. We'll have a conversation. We'll post this as an update to the story if you decide to speak and profess your innocence. Other than that, I'm going to hope that they get you and throw you in prison and get you just as much time for causing and, what did they say? Contributing to the situation. Contributing to the delinquency, to the neglect. To Skylar Gardner, young princess, R.I.P. This baby and her brother deserved every opportunity to grow up and become something great, and they deserve to have good parents. And it seems like both of their parents, including mom's boyfriend, failed them. And maybe this saga was meant to end like this because there's a good chance that she was probably going to get pregnant by her new boyfriend. It's just people like this don't deserve reproductive organs. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to AFC Podcast. Make these stories go viral so we can really, really, truly get justice, okay? I think we got enough celebrity news in the world. Let's start caring about our babies more than we care about celebrities, okay? Thank you. That's all I'm saying. Y'all ready for story number 2? Because guess what? I was right. Can y'all dig it? The bite marks, they're saying some of them were post-mortem, meaning after the baby was dead. that was added by the rats, the mouse, the rodents. They refer to them as rodents that was eating this girl's dead body. Isn't that crazy? That's where some of the bite marks came from. Are y'all ready for story number 2? So I don't think we had none of the family members show up. So maybe they didn't want to call in. Maybe they didn't want to participate. And that's perfectly fine. That is their prerogative. And they can do what they want to do. But we're going to go to story number 2. And we're going to do what we do, okay? So y'all do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. We got just under 300 people here. Can we get 300 thumbs up before I start this next story? This video, did I put that in video? I did not, but there we go. So I'm going to check this real quick. Do we have anybody else who wants to donate? Like I said, I think the last few that came in are already in. Let me see where we're at. Let me see where we're at. So I'm going to check this real quick. Do we have anybody else? We have 222 thumbs up. Let me turn the microphone down just a little bit. I think it's too loud. We got we got 226. Can we get to 250 before we start? 250 thumbs up. We only need 43, actually 41 more people to click the thumbs up. No, that's actually not right. I did my math wrong. I'm thinking 50 instead of 25. So we only need 20 more people to reach 250. 20 more people to click that thumbs up. Are y'all ready to talk about story number 2? And are y'all ready for me to gloat about me being correct about this story? Hope y'all are ready. Sissonville, West Virginia. How many of my people are from West Virginia and y'all are in the chat? How many of y'all are from? Where y'all watching from? Let me know where y'all watching from. Sandra said it best. Thumbs up so we can move on. Please hit that thumbs up. Please, please. This is a relatively big update. Not a surprise to me, but maybe a surprise to some of you guys with the Sissonville, West Virginia couple that I spoke about. We got 235 thumbs up. Thank you very much. 235. We're at 235 right now. 237. Okay, we're at 240. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, well, I see where everybody's watching from. Let me know if y'all see somebody that is from West Virginia in the chat. Maybe they don't want to speak. If you're watching from outside of the United States, if you're watching from another country, we got Scotland, the UK in the building. If y'all are watching from another country, please post it. What's up, Carrie? What time is it where y'all are at over there in Scotland? Thank you. Virginia, not far from West Virginia. That's pretty close. He said it's the inbred capital. Oh, my Lord. Wow. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Here we go. Y'all ready? This is story number 2 out of 5. On a Saturday, the first day of February. I told y'all I was going to bring out more live streams, and that's exactly what we're doing. I'm from Southwest VA. It's far away. Okay. I got you. I see. I got you. Here we go. I hate to say I told you so. Actually, no, I actually prefer to say I did tell you guys so. I was right about this story. So to all the naysayers, to all the people who sent me emails and told me I didn't know what I was talking about, told me that this place wasn't racist, told me that these kids weren't black, told me that my information was wrong. Well, guess what? It's funny how when police and the courts and the prosecutors and investigators come out and put the facts out there, which we already did, and now we could actually say that we are factually correct and this story almost has a complete conclusion outside of how many years they're going to get in prison. I told you so. Let me give you guys the fair usage, fair warning about my channel before we get into my content. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And it's a sad thing to have to gloat about. Like, I'm not gloating about it like in a positive way because this story is a really negative story, but at least all the kids survived. So this is bittersweet. And I just think that their entire family are just pieces of crap. Everybody who tried to defend these old raggedy folks are just terrible people. And I'm getting this update from WCHSTV.com. So thank you for the article and thank you to everybody who supported us through this journey of following this saga, okay? The mother of children who were found locked inside a Sissonville barn was found guilty on all charges, and the father guilty on all but 4 charges in a child abuse and forced labor case, otherwise known as slavery, forced labor. Gene Whitefeather was found guilty on multiple counts of human trafficking, forced labor, gross child neglect, and child abuse. Donald Lance, who's on the right-hand side of the screen right there, was found not guilty on 4 counts of civil rights violations and guilty of all other charges, including human trafficking, forced labor, gross child neglect, and child abuse. I think when Mr. Lance testified, he communicated through his verbal and nonverbal cues that it's made very clear to the jury that he had a good relationship with the kids and race never came into his mind when making a decision, Lance attorney John Belinovich said. Whatever, I can't say his last name. Lance and Whitefeather did not visibly show much emotion in the courtroom, as prosecutors say Whitefeather now faces up to 215 years in prison, and Lance is looking at the max of 140 years in prison. And I hope that they get every bit of that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If y'all are listening, please hit that thumbs up. If you're listening, much love. I see y'all. Thank you. I think they're upset, but they understand that the jury heard all the evidence, Whitefeather's attorney Mark Plant said. I think it's fair to say they are upset, but look forward to continuing with the criminal process. There's an appeal process that they look forward to. And like I said, it's understandable that they're upset, but they also understand that they had their day in court. Now, the Kanawha County jury reached the verdict at 4:45 p.m. Wednesday after 8 hours of deliberation. The verdict, considered historic, as assistant prosecutors Madison Tuck and Christopher Krenovic, who worked on this case, explained throughout that this was the first time in the state's history human trafficking charges have been brought forward and now convicted at the circuit court level. This is the first time human trafficking statutes have been charged in West Virginia, we believe, Krenovic said. The civil rights violations aren't charged very often in West Virginia. They're tough cases to prove, and we appreciate the help that we got everybody on the team and also in the office. The couple was arrested on October 2023 after the oldest 2 children were found locked inside of a shed in Sissonville, West Virginia. There's some partial pictures. You can kind of see the kids a little bit, but we're not going to show their faces. They were charged following an investigation into the treatment of the couple's 4 adopted black children. And I had some lady with the audacity to email me and not know what the F she was talking about, trying to tell me, how do I know that the kids are black? That's not correct. And that information is wrong. And I'm like, how do you know this? I've read multiple articles, and I knew from the jump that I had this information correct. And now we got the pictures to prove it. And now all of a sudden people are just like, well, stop replying to me. Stop emailing me. And I'm like, well, you emailed me first. I think I have the right to let you know that you were wrong and that you lied and that you owe me an apology for making it seem like I got my facts wrong. Very rarely can anybody come to my channel and tell me what I've said that is factually inaccurate. I might have said some stuff that hurts your feelings. I might have said some stuff that's not funny. But rarely will I say something that is not factually accurate. And this case proves it. Yes, I'm gloating. Adopted black children. White Feather and Lance moved to West Virginia from Washington State when neighbors began making reports to Child Protective Services claiming children were being forced to do farm labor on the property, which they were. They were convicted. Detectives with the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office reviewed thousands of hours of surveillance footage recovered from the cameras at the home, which showed the children standing for hours at a time, sleeping on the floor, and using a portable toilet. Prosecutors worked to convince the jury the adoptive couple abused the 5 black youth ranging in age from as young as 5 years old all the way up to age 16 years old due to their race. While the defense portrayed overwhelmed parents with traumatized children who made poor parenting decisions. A forensic technology expert from the West Virginia Fusion Center was asked to comb through the text messages exchanged between Lance and White Feather. Some messages referred to the adopted children as monkeys and pigs. That is on record as a fact. If you treat these children like slaves and call them derogatory names, including monkeys and pigs, as if they're subhuman, that sounds like racial to me. That sounds like slavery to me. These innocent babies that were failed by their own biological parents to even end up in this situation, and they end up in the hands of these assholes. The couple were accused of physically abusing the children. One child's testimony matched videos and photos that showed children being beaten with a PVC pipe by Lance. Let me see. And that asshole needs to go to prison too, because he tried to come out and he was the one. This is the guy that tried to come out and say that there was a key that was accessed on the inside and the outside. Them kids could have got out anytime that they wanted to, which was a lie. He lied. I think he need to be in prison too. But let me show y'all where there was a still shot right here of him hitting him with a PVC pipe right there. Y'all see it on my screen. This ain't made up. Children were being beaten with a PVC pipe by Lance. White Feather was accused of using bear spray against the children. The children's diet consisted mostly of peanut butter sandwiches, according to their testimony, and I believe the kids. PVC pipe, hard. It's a hard combination of plastic and something else. I don't know. Really, really hard plastic. The plastic pipes, you know, like the piping that they use for your house and stuff, that's PVC pipe. Some of the testimony focused on the 14-year-old who did not testify. The teen suffers from severe mental illness and is receiving full-time psychiatric care. White Feather and Lance testified that the boy became aggressive after reaching puberty, and the couple outlined struggles to get him professional help. Lance said that the move to Sissonville was partially due to the proximity to a mental hospital. I don't believe that either. A behavioral health center was minutes away from the couple's house, but Lance told prosecutors he only made calls and never arranged a visit for the teen. The jury viewed text messages between the couple referring to the boy as PB, which White Feather said stood for P-boy, P-brain, and Psycho Boy. Mentally, emotionally abusing these kids also. Following the overwhelming amount of testimony, Judge Mary Claire Akers provided jury instructions. Each side was provided with an hour for closing arguments prior to deliberations. Y'all want to look up that. All the court stuff is there. It's too much to go through, but we'll show you the ending portion of it. The county prosecutor's office held a press conference shortly after the conviction to discuss the trial. The most important aspect of all of this are the children involved. To be able to bring a just result to them is really just something that is hard to put into words, Kanawha County Prosecutor Deborah Rusnick said. We're very grateful for the outcome that we got today. Rusnick commended the work of investigators with the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office. It's a very touching case. It was a hard case to work, and I'm very proud of all of our divisions. Chief Deputy Sean Snuffer said. I also want to thank the citizen that called this in, that saw something and said something. So kudos to them. Had they not called this in, we would never even have known about this. Their sentencing is scheduled for March 19th, which is just around the corner. We can't wait to get to that date. Prosecutors say that Whitefeather faces a maximum of 215 years in prison, and Lance could be behind prison 140 years. So again, we were right. And that's why people need to stop being in their emotions and start thinking with logic rather than just email me just because you're in your goddamn feelings. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If y'all would do me a favor and share this story, continue to share these stories, because we definitely want to make sure that the world got a chance to see this. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. Only got 2 news videos to wrap this up.
After days of grueling testimony, the jury in the human trafficking and child abuse case out of Kanawha County, they're hearing closing arguments.
Yeah, Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance are facing decades in prison if the jury finds them guilty of charges that include human rights violations because of their race and using the 4 adopted children in forced labor. Prosecutors summarized 2 weeks of witnesses, asking the jury to find Whitefeather guilty of all 19 counts against her. Lance is facing 16 counts. Now, each side has been given an hour for closings, and defense attorneys disputing the state's claims that the 4 children were targeted, abused, and forced to do labor because they were black. They told the jury the facts of the case don't match up to the law. They adamantly deny the couple was racist, but said they were dealing with children who had mental illness as best they could with the lack of help from the state.
All of this bad conduct that we've been hearing for 2 weeks has to be because of their race.
If you're listening, I just got a donation, a very nice donation from Ella. Ella, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, I want to say thank you very much. I just got your Cash App, so if you're listening, shout out to Ella E. Ella E. I'm not going to read your whole name. I want nobody out there stalking y'all. I try to protect y'all names. So if you're listening, Ella E., if you're listening, thank you very much. If you're in the chat, type in the chat. All you got to do is subscribe, and you should be able to type in the chat if you want to. You don't have to, but I would just want to say thank you.
Because of poor parenting or mental illness issues or handling mental issues poorly. It has to be because of the race. Now again, not saying we're not down to counts 13 and 19 yet, but that's what you have to believe beyond a reasonable doubt.
I want to remind you, a defendant Whitefeather and defendant Lance made a bet when they chose to move to Sissonville, West Virginia. They bet that people of West Virginia would not care if they mistreated their black children right out in front of the world. I ask you to prove them wrong.
Now, the jury will begin deliberations first thing tomorrow morning.
Thanks so much for watching. Here's another video.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Jeannie K. Whitefeather, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of human trafficking of a minor child. We, the jury, find the defendant, Donald Ray Lance, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of human trafficking of a minor child.
Well, first tonight, a historic verdict after a more than 2-week-long trial. The couple accused of forced labor and child abuse of their adopted black children has now learned their fate from a jury.
Now, this was a split verdict, meaning it was not a straight guilty or not guilty for both of the defendants, Donald Lance and his wife, Jeannie Whitefeather.
Yeah, let's take a look at really all of those counts. So what we know, Whitefeather was found guilty of all 19 counts against her. You can see them right here on your screen: human trafficking, civil rights violation, forced labor. The jury did find that Lance was not guilty of 4 civil rights violations that they deemed Whitefeather was guilty of. And when it came to child abuse, there were more charges for Whitefeather because of an incident involving spraying the adopted children with bear spray, which Lance was not charged with.
Anna Saunders has been following this case for us all along. She has reaction tonight from attorneys on both sides on this historic trial and verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Jeannie K. Whitefeather, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of human trafficking. We, the jury, find the defendant, Donald Ray Lance, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of human trafficking.
For the first time in West Virginia history, human trafficking charges and now convictions handed down to both Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance. Kanawha County Assistant Prosecutors Chris Kravaniak and Madison Tugg, who worked this case, say this is something that has never happened before at the state level.
First time the human trafficking statutes have been charged in West Virginia, we believe. And the civil rights violations aren't charged very often in West Virginia. They're tough cases to prove, and we appreciate the help we got from everybody on the team and also the office.
Whitefeather and Lance not visibly showing much emotion in the courtroom as prosecutors say Whitefeather now faces up to 215 years in prison. Lance looking at a max of 140.
I think they're upset, right? I mean, but they understand that the jury heard all the evidence. I think it's fair to say they are upset, but they look forward to continuing with the criminal process. There's a sentencing, there's an appeal process that they look forward to. And like I said, it's understandable that they're upset, but they also understand that, they had their day in court.
This case all stemming from the October 2023 discovery of 2 of their adopted black teens locked in a shed in Sissonville, about 5 months after they moved here from Washington State. Investigators later uncovered more evidence, including videos, pictures, text messages, that the jury got to see that it was not just the teens, but also their adopted 11-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter victimized too. The home surveillance videos from cameras Whitefeather and Lance kept on the kids, showing the 5 days leading up to the shed rescue, where the kids would be forced to stand all day, sleep on the floor, take no baths, only allowed to eat peanut butter sandwiches. 2 months before they were locked away, they could be seen by neighbors working and standing in the yard at all hours. Once the neighbors started sounding the alarm, the kids spent most of their time inside, too, in the shed. But perhaps the most compelling part of the trial was when 3 of the children victims testified in this case against Whitefeather and Lance, detailing years of abuse, neglect, racial comments, and isolation.
Really hard for an adult to take the stand and testify against a stranger. I can't imagine the courage it took for a child to take the stand and testify against someone who, at one point in their life, they considered a parent.
In a rare move, both Whitefeather and Lance testified in their own defenses in this case, denying the allegations against them. But for the jury, this was not enough, as they found Whitefeather guilty on all of her charges and Lance found guilty on all of his except for the civil rights violations.
When Mr. Lance testified, he communicated through his verbal and his nonverbal cues that it made clear to the jury that he had a good relationship with the children, and race never really came in his mind when making any decisions.
The jury deliberated for 8 hours on Wednesday after sitting through more than 2 weeks of trial and thousands of files of evidence, ultimately returning what the prosecution was seeking: justice for the kids.
These cases mean a lot to us. We take a lot of this personally. This is our community, and these are the children of our community. And so if we're not going to fight for them, then who will?
The 2 will be sentenced by Judge Mary Claire Akers in March. In Kanawha County, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News.
I wanted to make sure that you guys got a chance to see all of that. Now, they actually had court proceedings on YouTube that you can find. You want to watch all of that stuff. There's more that you can hear in there as far as specific details, but I think we've heard quite enough. I don't know that we're going to post any more videos about the sentencing unless more information comes out, but I think this is more than plenty. I think we're justified, and it just sucks because, again, I want you guys to remember that these monsters, these racists, these bigots would not have had access to these children if their biological parents did not fail them. I don't know that they're dead or passed away or whatever. I'm going to just say that they never should have ended up in the hands of these type of people. They're evil people, horrible people. And I only have to assume that if the root of this tree, this poisonous tree, has bared fruit out, meaning their family and friends, then they might have similar sentiments as well as their behavior and their character. Makes you just want to question everybody who's tied to them as far as a DNA tie, family or friends or anybody else. Maybe even their attorneys, who knows? But I guarantee you this, I'm not going to be trying to go to Sissonville, West Virginia no time soon. All right? Thank you guys so much for listening. Keep those children in your prayers. Put a prayer hands up in the chat and pray that they can make a full, stable recovery and maybe end up in the hands of somebody that can help them, really, really assist them to grow up and become something great. Thank y'all for following this saga in the AFC podcast. Thank you.